Video game. Or game. Gamity game. I'm
Games.
Bronson Fiore.
Hi, I'm Aaron Reynolds. We like to play
We
Xbox games around here.
we love Xbox. This thing is the fucking tits. PlayStation's good too, but
Absolutely.
we have an affinity for boxes with X's.
And it's not just boxes with X's. It's this service of theirs called Game Pass. Now, Game Pass, it's a fantastic service. You pay like what, a maximum of $15 a month for Ultimate
$15 a month
for PC and Xbox usage of Game Pass.
And you get your Xbox Live sub with that too.
Right, which is amazing. And with all that, you get access to dozens and dozens of video games. Some of them released like day one, you know? And it's just fantastic. So we're here to show off just a few of those games, two each episode, actually. So, without further ado, I think we should go with Mr. Bronson Fiore and his game. What are you doing?
As our title on Twitch says, I played a good amount of that Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
Did you now?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
That game was a game that was on my Game of the Year list for 2019. And it hit Game Pass, and I was like, fuck yeah, I'll check this out on. Especially because it got a Series X patch like a week or two ago.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want to see what this looks and runs like, and because like I played it at launch on the PC, and then at like random frame drops and some screen tearing, and like it was a great game. It was good enough to make my top 10 list, but it had problems. And I was like, you know what? I wanna see what this game is like. Full 60 FPS on a new console, and I had a great time.
Jedi Fallen Order, from what little I played, that game seems fantastic.
Comment in the chat from the Neon Outlaw says Star Wars Knights of the Dark Souls.
Kinda, yeah, right?
At times, yeah, the combat is very Dark Souls. Like, okay, parry at the right time, parry at the right time, rolling, lots of rolling,
always rolling.
Lots of Fallen Order is legit. Yeah, it was a great game though. I did figure out, like, I do love once you get force push though.
Oh, sure,
like,
okay.
Once you get force push, just dude by a ledge.
Yeah.
That's something I don't have to fight a lot of people.
So for people who don't know about this game somehow, this is taking Star Wars some point in the timeline around the movies.
So it is 4 years after Order 66.
Ooh, okay.
It's 4 years after Order 66, and you play a former Jedi Padawan who's gone into hiding, but he saves his friend's life, and he gets found out by the Inquisitors and is being hunted. And then a former Jedi picks him up and is like, okay, hey, my former master set up all this stuff for us. We need to go to these worlds, collect these artifacts and stuff, and go recruit a bunch of these Force-sensitive kids. It'll give us the coordinates to all these Force-sensitive kids, and we can go and recruit them, and then go, have and form a new Jedi Order.
Yeah.
And along the way, it is the combat of Dark Souls with everything else kind of built around a 3D Metroidvania. So like levels, you'll progress through levels and you'll run into like a wall that's like, oh, I obviously can't go past that wall right now, but once I have force push or pull or some other ability, I will obviously be able to blow through it.
Right.
And then so that's what that is like. So for example, like I recently saw on the first planet, there's a lot of stuff with that if you on your first visit, so on your first visit, it'll be like, oh yeah, you totally need force push or force jump to progress anywhere that isn't the main story bit. But on your second visit to that planet, you have like full range at that point to explore everything and mess around and find all the unlockables and do all the side quests, and it's really cool to see these like kind of what at first seem like, oh, these planets are like kind of small in scale and narrow, really open up into these bigger things. Hey, Snow Rabbit, hi.
Yo, how you doing?
It's the perfect combo of Metroidvania, Dark Souls, and Uncharted. They do have a couple of Uncharted set piece moments that are really good. I actually wish they had a few more of them because they were actually so good. That was actually one of my big things. Is like the few set pieces that are fantastic, along with the boss fights. Like I had a great time. I had a great time with specifically the last two boss fights because they were so nail bitingly close and require like perfect timing of parries and whatnot. Not much. Eating garlic cookies with cheese and garlic hummus.
And Snow Rabbit saying that. Ooh,
Yep, sounds pretty good.
that's a lot of garlic.
Garlic's good for you, man. Good for your heart. It helps fight cancer.
Absolutely. Hey, garlic's good. Just pop a mint after.
Yep. Just you should eat a lot of garlic, everyone.
Yes, just eat a lot of it and then go to a social gathering afterwards. Well, don't do that now. After this virus is over.
Yeah, eat a bunch of garlic, then go tongue kiss someone.
Go tongue kiss a vampire. It'll go really well. Anyway,
it made the Inquisitors an actual threat instead of silly bullshit they pulled in Rebels. Yes, like both Inquisitor fights were real nail biting and tight. In fact, it's really cool to see like fighting regular enemies, which like most of them are not like a real threat to you if you're, once you get the hang of the game, to fucking like fighting any of the Force users where every fight feels like you're barely surviving.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think that the game isn't perfect though. I think the difficulty curve is really wonky.
Okay.
Like I think that like there are parts of that game that are like way hard for like the average player, and then there are other parts that are like way too easy, and like it's just like like the difficulty curve is just fucking wild.
Okay.
Like that's like one of my big issues with it, and I feel like the primary difficulty for most people is gonna be too much. And I think the one below that is too easy. So I think that there like needs to be a little more tuning in the difficulty section. Like it's nothing that's gonna ruin your enjoyment of the game, but like if you're playing on normal, like or what is normal, where like everything's in the middle on their little chart, I feel for some people it'll be too hard, and then I feel the setting below that is significantly too easy.
Gotcha.
So I think that's something that'll come and go with. I think that is something that some people might have a problem with. Also, on the new consoles, it is not 4K 60.
Oh,
You kind of have to choose. You can choose full 4K with an unlocked frame rate, which it doesn't ever drop below 30 and it's smooth, but it's not 60, or like as high as the resolution can crank at any given moment,
gotcha.
but a locked 60 FPS.
Man.
I think this is a game that really benefits from the 60 frames, especially when it comes to parries and combat. So that's the route I went.
Yeah.
It's a great looking game. They nail the Star Wars presentation and story and music. I like Cal Kestis as a character. He's a cool Jedi. Very, So yeah. Just generally, just generally a,
good game. It's a very good game. Have you've beaten it before, but you're going through it again just to see how it is on the modern consoles?
Yeah, just to see how it is after it's all patched and all, not fucked.
It's great that a game like this is on Game Pass, because otherwise I wouldn't go out of my way to try this again, because I played for a bit, but like these kinds of games are not my kind of game. I don't stick around very long, and that's exactly what happened when I played this. Was like I thought all of this was cool, but this is just not scratching the itch I have right now. So We didn't. I just kind of fell off. But the fact that it's on Game Pass and I could just download it one day and jump in is awesome.
The fact, like, it's very much a Metroidvania, you know, like action adventure game. Like, hey, do you like Arkham? Do you like, you know, Metroid? You
Sure.
know, these games where, like, okay, you know, you're gonna backtrack a lot, and you're gonna see like the same 5 levels a lot, you know, just in different forms.
And then
So
combine that with a Dark Souls esque kind of combat system.
yeah, I think like I don't think it's nearly as like cruel as Dark Souls.
No, not at all.
Like those stormtroopers like melt for the most part.
Sure, as they should.
Yeah, it's the boss fights that really like are, in my opinion, like that, and every now and then you do get lost. Like every now and then, like
That's
like
what killed me was like my first time I got lost.
Is it like in a bad way where I'm just like,
I don't know. Yeah, yeah.
And you know, yeah, and that's kind of the main complaints. But overall, if you're looking for a really good action adventure game, especially if you love Star Wars, you know, we haven't had a good Star Wars like action adventure original story since like KOTOR 2. So it's been a long time coming, and
some people would say Force Unleashed was all right.
it was okay.
I like the idea until 2 came, and then everyone just decided it would be better to forget it.
I actually went back and played that first one like last year.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Okay, maybe for the time.
Like, yeah, I think for the time it was neat.
Yeah.
I think that like, but even then, that's still a long time. That game came out like 07, 08.
Right.
So like, yeah, like that's still a pretty good while. Like, well, that's a good, you know, 11 years between like big story based action adventure type deals.
Sure.
And like you know, they hit it out of the park, and they kind of had to.
Yes.
You know, like, and even then Disney was like, yeah, we're still gonna open up
after Battlefront 2.
Yeah, which Battlefront 2 came out before this. Like, it was
yeah.
You know,
well, exactly. That's the thing. It was the beginning of the Battlefront 2. That the way that launched is what started that. So like, Fallen Order was not going to change anything.
It's a real shame that EA got their crap together with their last 2 Star Wars games, but it was like too late. Like Squadrons and Fallen Order was real good.
Yeah, Neon Outlaw in the chat is apparently going through KOTOR at this very moment.
Yeah, I saw you playing that when I logged on today, and I was wondering, like, are you running it with mods? Are you just kind of in the mood for that kind of game? I'm in the mood to, like, I love those games. I'm just kind of like waiting for that Mass Effect Legendary Edition.
Right.
With my fill of it.
Yep.
So.
Yes and yes, he says.
Yeah. So okay. Yeah, there are a bunch of real good mods that make that game a lot better to play nowadays.
I was wondering what's the mod scene like for that, for KOTOR?
Better dialogue stuff, better graphics, better interface.
Cool. You know, that's awesome. That's actually fantastic. I was hoping for that.
Yeah, so Pat of Castle Super Beast did a bunch of streams of the second one.
Oh.
And went over the mods that you should be running for that.
That's cool. Okay.
So if you want to go dig across the internet for that, I'm sure you can.
It's been a long time since I played KOTOR.
Yes, it is.
Have not touched it since it came out.
Yep.
So
I played it a couple years ago, and I like got through the opening bits, and I was just like, I would rather play Mass Effect. Like that's
interesting.
That's kind of like, and I think it's you know, I just something about that Mass Effect world, man. I just prefer Star Wars for some reason.
Interesting.
You know.
You know, there are times I
Also, I admittedly cheated to max every stat.
That's what Neon Outlaw said in chat. Yeah, that sounds all right. That sounds like a nice like breezy time.
What defeats the purpose of an RPG?
Whatever.
It's like playing D&D and you're like max 20 and everything.
Yeah, for a chill time when you're not like looking for a challenge, you're just hanging back, just playing some KOTOR. Whatever. Something's on TV.
So here's like the way I play all of these games, and it's how I played Outer Worlds and maximize. Here's the cheat code to make these games all easy mode. Put all your points into speech, charisma, and like whatever the lock picking equivalent is.
Yep.
Those fucking everyone will just listen to you. Fuck you, I'm Revan, I am God. Yeah, that's the unfortunate downside of playing Mass Effect KOTOR. It's really hard to go back to. Yeah, like I that's exactly, Outer Worlds is another Game Pass game. I highly recommend it. One of another favorite from last year or 2 years ago.
From the New Vegas developers.
Yes.
Currently working on Microsoft's Avowed.
Elder Scrolls equivalent, basically. But anyway, so I like every single one of those games, just like max speech. Like there you go. Like same with Mass Effect. Like Mass Effect 1, what were the skill trees?
God, I don't.
Yeah, hold on. What were the skill points?
Sex with alien, sex with human, sex with robot.
Let's see. Armor, tech, biotic, health. Yeah, like max hacking, always a must. But yeah, they had a.
Didn't the speech stuff come with like how you aligned yourself, whether you went Paragon or Renegade?
Yeah, it was like charm and intimidate.
Yeah, you had to like put enough points into one or the other.
Yeah, max out your charm or intimidate. The same thing with Fallout. Like Fallout, like I did not want to put up with that dude's radio tower bullshit side quest, so I just like put enough points in so I could lie to him, so he would listen to me.
There you go. God damn. Anyway, Jedi Fallen Order. How long did that take you to beat? You think?
If you're so I'm breezing through it pretty quick because I beat it once.
Right.
But first run, assuming you don't have like first run, I'm gonna say you're probably looking at like a 14-hour game to 20-hour game. It depends on. It does kind of depend on how dedicated you are to going out of your way to find side stuff.
Okay.
Because you have all the chests and Jedi skills, and the mysterious creatures you can go hunt, and you have force echoes you can find, and encrypted logs you can go find.
Yep.
And health pickup, force pickup. So you in theory spend a lot of time, on that game. It's I like I said, I blew through it my first run in about 14 hours. So if you're like me and you mostly do main quests and a couple of side things along the way, and it's about a 50 gig game, so those of you on a bandwidth cap really don't have too much to worry about. Like it's not like a war zone, but it's also not like super tiny. But yeah,
I was gonna say 50 gigs it means you're gonna be taking a little while, but it's not. It's not the worst out there.
Yeah, like overall, it's a fun action adventure game. I think that if that's the kind of thing you're into, you could do a whole lot worse. Especially as I look for that kind of game on Game Pass, and there's not a ton of them.
Right.
So yeah, go. Oh, also for now, this is only on Game Pass for console.
Oh, it's only on console. Okay.
Because it's EA Play is not on the PC yet. So.
Right. So how much does this cost outside of Game Pass?
I want to say it's 40 or 60. Hold on, let me find out.
Yeah.
As I know, it's still pretty. I mean, it's like Star Wars, right? So it's you would think.
You would think that price stays up for a while, especially a good Star Wars game.
Yeah, $60
Wow. For new, obviously.
yeah, like a digital download, and they have a triple pack, however, where if you want to get Squadrons, Battlefront 2 Celebration Edition, and Fallen Order Deluxe Edition for $90.
Woo.
So
Okay.
if you want all of the good Star Wars games, $90.
Sure. Sure. This is definitely one of the coolest original Star Wars things, like along with The Mandalorian going on right now.
Yeah, like Star Wars, it's real funny that Rise of Skywalker ended up being such a piece of shit, and everything else around Star Wars ended up being really cool.
Yeah.
Like The Mandalorian and Squadrons and this. Like Squadrons was awesome last year. I've really enjoyed it, especially and I've heard great things about the VR on it. And then I've played Fallen Order and it's been great. And the entire internet has gushed over the Mandalorian, and in my opinion, it deserves that praise.
Sure.
So yeah, like if you're, if I can't say enough nice things about it. It was one of my top 10 games of the year in 2019, and it would have been higher on that list if it ran like it does on the Series X.
Of course.
Because when that game came out, it was kind of in a rough state, but it has been patched and is now all 60 frames and in good shape.
That did come out in a rough state when it started.
Yeah, no,
I forgot about that.
It would have been a top 5 instead of a bottom back of the 10 if not for the fact that if it didn't have like I'd be in the like. And once again, I'm on a PC that in 2019 was more than capable of running this game at 1080p 60, a GTX 1080, an i7 6700K, and I was still like having the occasional just like it'd be 60 frames in the middle of a field and be like 20 FPS. All right, we're good, we're back to normal.
Right.
Or just like it would crash or have screen tearing issues.
Ugh.
So like this has been like it feels like I'm playing the finished complete version now. Yeah, and then once again the Series X patch did a great job.
Right.
I actually it's kind of they don't have it listed as Series X enhanced though.
I was gonna say.
So if you go searching in Game Pass on EA Play on EA Play on the console and put on the filter Series S/X, it won't show up.
Okay.
But they put out a patch to make it run in all 4K and shit. So I don't know why. I guess they didn't run through Microsoft's certification process.
Maybe.
Maybe that's the reason.
I don't know. I'm trying to look for information right now. It looks like they got an update to. Yeah, I don't know. Something you'll have to check out. And if you have Game Pass, you can do that for free.
Yes.
On console.
Yes. And spring is supposedly when we're getting that next gen update.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, all right.
I've long said Star Wars is the best when it's not a movie.
Says Neon Outlaw. Yeah. You're right. The Republic Commando is really good. You're right.
You know what? You're right. Like I sit here and I go, yeah. But then like I think about those first 2 Star Wars movies and I'm like, fuck, they're so good. They're so good. And Episode 3 is so good.
3, 4, and 5 are so amazing. And
then like the rest of those movies are very okay. Like they have like they're like varying levels of quality, and like some parts of them are incredible and some parts are just shit, and it's just like it's really hard. Like it says everything about how good those first 2 movies were, that they were able to set up like what is this like dominant pop culture phenomenon and like has its own fucking portion of Disneyland. Considering that, like, once again, those films vary in quality level. A lot of those books are shit. A lot of those comics are half and half.
Sure.
And then the games also vary wildly in quality.
Absolutely. But when they're good,
When they're good, they really
holy
are.
crap, they're good.
Yeah, like I put some more time into Star Wars Squadrons this week, and I was just like, this is and like it's almost got me thinking about a VR headset comes tax time.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, it's not. I've already committed to buying.
We should each get VR headsets and play some co-op Squadrons.
Or I can get that new TV I've been meaning to buy.
Yeah, I guess.
Because
whatever, just get some GameStop stock.
Clone Wars, both the old and current. KOTOR 1 and 2, Shadows of the Empire.
TIE Fighter.
TIE Fighter, Rogue Squadron.
Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy.
1999 to like 2006 had a real good run on Star Wars video games.
Those Lego Star Wars games,
those are all right.
They're a fun time.
They're the perfect game for if you have children.
Sure.
They like if you have a younger sibling or someone like that, like they're could have not have made it more perfect.
Are you saying you didn't enjoy those games when they first came out?
I rented them and like I dabbled with them and had a fun time, but like they're like I feel as though as someone who plays those experiences like mostly alone.
That's fair. That's fair.
Like I came away from being like, yeah, this seems fine. Like if I was back in Michigan and I had my younger cousins around, like I'm sure I'd play the crap out of this with them. But
yeah, back during that time, I would have a friend or two come over, and that was a good co-op game, regardless.
Like I got sent a review copy of the Force Awakens Lego game.
Okay.
Like I own that on Xbox One.
Sure.
And I reviewed it and I gave it like a 7.5. I'm like, this is a fun like little co-op thing for you and your child or friends, I guess.
High friends. Probably.
High friends, like get baked.
Just get real baked, get some food, and put on some Lego Star Wars. Hell yeah.
It's only a bad time.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten use out of my VR headset, says Quinn. Tell me what you think of Star Wars Squadrons if you get a chance.
Quinn, come on, Elite Dangerous. I need to hear what the VR experience is like in Elite Dangerous. You're the one person I want to listen to for that.
I actually know for a fact I'd get use out of it because it's the only place that has a current version of Dance Central. So
sure.
It's either break out it's either do the maintenance that I need to do on my 360, clean out the living room, or just set up a VR headset in my bedroom.
Yeah, right.
It's like, this is climbing the mountain for that is a real mother.
Right. Never got around to setting it up, says Neon Outlaw. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I watched
you are such a Half-Life geek.
Yeah, right. I actually just recently, this is a little off topic, but I watched a friend play some Half-Life Alyx. He streamed it with the VR headset and everything, and that's a trip. That's I bet that's real weird and interesting to see when you have the headset on.
It was Easy Allies finally put out their game of the year. It was their game of the year.
I believe it.
That person at the Escapist can shut up.
Someone had to.
Sure. Once again, hey man, if whoever wrote that article wants to buy me a at minimum $400 headset and ship it out to me and like have me review it, I'll do it.
Sure.
Like I'll go back to writing text reviews if people want to send product again.
If that's what it takes. Yeah, and Outlaw says I need a new flight stick set up for and mounts for my chair, and watched a walkthrough of Alex. God, yeah, we all need some stuff.
Watching a walkthrough is not the same as playing.
That's the thing with VR. Yeah.
That's the thing. That's the thing about video games as an interactive
Video games as well, absolutely, but like VR
Like-
especially.
Right. No, for sure. It's one of those things where like, you know, I I could watch a playthrough of Half-Life Alex, and I'm sure it would be great. But I also would want to play that experience,
Yes.
especially because of VR. Yeah, my current like as far as my setup is concerned, I need to replace my second monitor
Mm-hmm.
because it's the one from work.
Okay.
And if I change jobs or, you know, move, I don't want to steal my work monitor.
That's fair.
And then I am in the 4K universe now without a 4K screen.
Oh, yeah, you got to get that taken care of.
I have one 4K, like both of my consoles can do 4K. My computer can kind of do 4K depending on the game.
Mm-hmm.
And my phone captures video in 4K.
Right.
4K HDR. It's a fucking the camera on this thing is incredible, which it should be because the sensor is huge. It's like 1/8 the phone.
Right.
It sticks out like it's like this much off the back of the phone. So like, and I still don't have a 4K HDR screen because when I make that jump, I want it to be a real good one.
Yeah.
Right, like I want it to be like to when I finally make that jump, I'm like, and I basically got it lowered down to two TVs, which one is the Sony 900H, which the benefit of it is it's $400 cheaper. It is an LED, so it's not going to burn in. And it's a Sony, so it does a bunch of compatible stuff with the PlayStation. And I've had good track records with Sony TVs. My last two have been Sony's. They've never broken. They've never had any issues. Good experiences all around.
Yeah.
And the only catch to this TV is it is supposed to have variable refresh rate. So like currently, they just unlocked 120 hertz, and they're supposed to put a patch out soon-ish to where it's going to have full variable refresh rate like a computer monitor.
Right.
But they still haven't put it out yet, and there was like rumor that they're not putting it out. But then Sony came out like 2 weeks ago and said like, no, we're doing it. We're really doing it. And so like, I'm kind of leery of that because like I do want that like option, right? Especially if I ever hook my computer to it.
Sure. Absolutely.
And then like they got their new version of that model coming out, but it's not out for like 3 months.
Yeah.
You know? And then the other version is like this has like been considered the king shit of displays. Like even computer monitors. Like Linus even says this is the best computer monitor.
Okay.
Which is that LG OLED C10. And it's this fucking it starts at 48 inches, but I get the 55. That's what I currently have.
Okay.
And it's this beautiful. Every time I've gone into a Best Buy, and even though it's not calibrated right, it looks fucking incredible. Like, and it has G-Sync.
Cool.
And it's 120 hertz.
All right.
And it's fucking like it's just beautiful, but it's so fucking expensive.
Yep.
It's $1,400 unless like Super Bowl's coming up, so Super Bowl sales happen.
That's true.
And then like so there's that, and then like there's the fact that just like OLEDs do have that that famous burn-in issue that everyone's aware of.
Yes.
And video games in particular are really susceptible to that
with the HUD.
HUDs.
Yep.
And like I don't want to spend $1,400-$1,500 on a fucking screen, and then let's say I get really into Halo this year, and then suddenly, oh look, on the top of my TV forever is Master Chief's shield bar.
Yep.
Great. Super.
Yeah, I don't think that's a good idea.
So like that's And I've heard mixed things about it too, because some people have said I've had like the A, the B7 for 3 years now, and or the B10 for 3 years now, and have never had an issue. And I've
Hmm.
heard some people be like, dude, I was playing Destiny nonstop when I got the TV, and now in the bottom, corner, there's the radar there forever.
Yep.
So like, it's so like I'm in this game of chicken, and then like, and really, it's gonna come down to like how much money I have when tax season and all my shit's taken care of, and then like on top of that, like that Sony patch.
Right.
Because if Sony puts that patch out, that like that's a big feature. That's
Yeah.
a big deal, especially because I hook my computer to my fucking TV.
Right.
So like that's 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 something to really consider.
Hmm.
Um. So yeah, we'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah. Anyway, TV show, and here's the thing that might have been useful to some of you who have Game Pass, because you bought a Series X and maybe you're 4K TV shopping.
Yep. Yep.
Um,
I'm already set up there, but yeah, absolutely.
Yes,
if you're looking into getting these consoles, yeah.
You were far less picky than I was.
Yes.
Because I very much consider my TVs like a massive investment, especially because we do this shit.
Sure.
And like, I ball out. The last one I bought was a grand.
Mm-hmm.
And I bought, like, unfortunately, I bought a TV at a really shitty time. But I needed one because my last one. You remember that old that old HD TV I had at the apartment?
How could I forget?
Yeah, that thing like was at that point 10 years old.
Yeah.
And it was just like, okay, like I can't keep I can't keep reviewing, playing, or doing this. No.
Yep.
It needs to end.
Mm-hmm.
And I went out and I was just like, okay, like it was like late 2015, early 2016. It was like, okay, you can buy a 4K TV, and it's kind of like a mid-range 4K TV, and HDR isn't really here yet.
Right.
Or you can get like the most bomb diggity 1080p TV.
Yeah.
And I was just like, all right, we're gonna get the most bomb diggity 1080p TV. And yeah, like I'm glad I did, because like I get comments from like people like, oh man, the color and everything looks so fucking good on this thing and whatnot. It's been a great set. It's just one, I hate smart TVs.
Okay.
It's the most annoying thing in the world where you're just like, I want to play a game. Oh, sorry, your TV's getting a firmware update.
Okay.
And then two is like I've had an issue where like sometimes it doesn't want to respond to when like the PlayStation or Xbox like sends the receiver a signal. So
Oh, weird. I haven't had that issue.
Yeah.
But geez.
Yeah. Anyway,
Jedi Fallen Order.
Yes, Jedi Fallen Order. Where the fuck we get shut off from? Great game. Play it. Hell yeah. So you played a game. So under your game, you played something that came out Tuesday.
Yeah.
This came out yesterday morning.
This came out within the last few days, and you want to talk about taking advantage of your 4K? How about this retro 16-bit platformer title called Cyber Shadow?
I'm not sure how good the HDR on your set is, but I mean, if it's really good, you could potentially, have, the colors on it really pop. Yeah.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know. I haven't tested it out yet because I'm playing it on my new Xbox. So I haven't gotten any of that shit set up. I just plugged it in. So I haven't messed with any of that stuff. But I have been playing some Cyber Shadow, and this is actually a lot easier to sum up than Jedi Fallen Order. Even though Jedi Fallen Order itself is fairly simple in its approach, Cyber Shadow is a like retro-esque platformer from, I believe, the developer is called like Machine Head Games or something like that.
Yacht Club.
The publisher is Yacht Club.
The publisher is Yacht Club.
Yeah.
They didn't dev it?
I assume they have a hand in it, but it's on their site as theirs. But when you actually look it up, especially on Xbox here, it says Yacht Club Games, but when you go to the list, oh, maybe it's not on here. I looked somewhere else.
Mechanical Head Studios.
Mechanical Head. That's it.
I was gonna say Machine Games is the Wolfenstein people.
No, I was confusing two of the different developers. But
anyway, go on.
Anyway, so yeah, they're operating out of Yacht Club Games, who are the Shovel Knight people. So you get an idea of what this game is about. It's just a lot of people are saying Ninja Gaiden, and I think that's just because they have a ninja on it. But like,
to me, it looked like Strider.
Yeah, it looks like Strider.
It looks like if someone made 8-bit Strider.
Yeah, so you got there are comparisons to Ninja Gaiden. There's comparisons to Strider, to Mega Man. There's another game I'm forgetting the name of at this moment.
What does it play most like? Because like I downloaded this on Tuesday. And it was actually gonna be until you told me you were doing your review this week. I was gonna be mine this upcoming week.
I mean, did you start it up?
No, I've been. Yeah, we did our show yesterday, and then I immediately went into a coma.
Right. So you know, it's very well. Okay, so when you first start, it's just like you have your slow run. You're not dashing or anything, and then you have just your regular attack, and that's kind of what you got at the start. And then as you go through, you collect upgrades such as shurikens that you can throw long range. You can have like a shuriken like thing that's like chained to you and swings around. You can extend your melee ability, but some of these are permanent upgrades. Some of these are more temporary. As you go through and you're collecting items from bosses while you're trying to like put your clan back together. It's sort of a post-apocalyptic thing where like it's like human life is kind of gone and everyone's a machine. Does the
Mega Man comparison come from you get something from every boss, or?
Yeah, in my mind, yes.
Okay.
And just you know, 8-bit, you know, the chiptune music that goes along with it's really good. It gets you motivated, and you're running through doing all this shit, and it's, you know, challenging, but it's very good at you know, you do not feel like you've been cheated at any point. They're very good about that. It feels really well done.
Very Shovel Knight-esque in that way.
Yes, like I have no excuse. Hey, Architect Avian in the chat, how you doing? I'm afraid we have no King of Fighters to talk about today. But yeah, it's real tight, and I was actually not able to get far enough to be able to try out this, but one of the things they can do is you collect a currency throughout the game, and lets you like, if I read it correctly, splits up like chapters so that you can move about better and like explore different areas. And there's wall jumping like later on, and a dash that you get that's part of your powers. There's a lot of stuff you can get, but when you start out, it's like nothing. And it feels real slow, but there's a lot of stuff going on here.
You're allowed to use my real name, Arian, or just Avian will do.
I like calling you Avian. I don't know. This is something that I've started doing in the post Twitch world. Is everyone is just their username. Quinn is Outlaw. You're Avian. Bronson Sarge. People call me Radley. You know.
Radley.
Yeah, exactly. That's what plays in my head. So I'm like, yeah, sure, all right.
Oh, lordy.
But yeah, no, this game is just a lot of fun. It's nothing revolutionary. It's nothing like, it's not even, I wouldn't even say it's a must-see, but it's like, if you are in the mood for that like 8-bit, 16-bit retro-esque video game platformer that's challenging but is not like frustrating to the nth degree. It's just the music's great. The art, I really am into the art, the design, and just the colors and everything. Everything feels good. But again, it's not mind blowing. But for what it is a good product. It is $20 otherwise outside of Game Pass. But if you got Game Pass, that's just on straight Game Pass.
It's on all versions, PC,
all
mobile,
versions,
and Xbox.
Yep.
Old and new Xboxes as well. So yeah, that game seems really cool. I like looking at it very much seems right up my alley. One thing that I will point out for you achievement hunters is all the achievements are in increments of like they have a 1 after them.
So, I found this out too late because I did an achievement where I forget what it was that I was supposed to do. Anyway, the achievement score was 31 points. Like, you motherfuckers. Holy shit.
This game might be my savior. This game might be my savior because right now my gamer score is like it got fucked up by Double Dragon Neon and then fucked up more by some other game I played. I forget what it is. I'll have to check my achievement score, but like ever since my gamer score has just been jacked.
Dude.
So I'm looking at this game, it's like this could be my savior. It could be way out of jail.
I guess technically I could do that. Yeah, like it's like I'm thinking about it because I didn't have an Xbox One during that entire last generation. I did not touch it. So my score got screwed by Rock Band 3 because like you connected
Carrion gave me 37 points and then fucking and then goddamn Double Dragon Young gave me 1 point. So I fucking ended up with a 3-pointer on there.
Mm-hmm.
So now I need 2 points. And then like if I'm gonna tell you right now, if I get 2 points out of Cyberblade or some multiple of or some way to get like a 12 or like a 32 or something like that, I'm stopping.
Yep.
Stop. That's sorry, that game.
Either you do 1 or you do like 6.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you, this game's fun.
Yeah, because like I'll pay the $20 for it on PlayStation.
Sure.
Like I can't, man. Yeah, they're all multiples of 16 or 31 or 91.
Jesus, fuck. Why? That's like the worst thing I've heard about this game.
It's like they're just being dicks.
They are. Oh, because this game's so cool otherwise.
I'm sitting over here being like, I'm saved.
I mean, because I got some achievements, my score's been jacked by Rock Band, and now it's extra jacked with this. So now I've got to balance it somehow.
Rock Band was at least easy. Like, go to a website, register your fucking game.
Yeah, there was another, and I just for whatever reason didn't go around to that, and I don't know if I still can now.
You can. They have it up still.
Do they? Okay.
No.
I'd have to look it up to see what I got. But
let me look at your gamer score. I'm gonna pull your.
It ends at a 2. God.
We should just turn this into an Xbox podcast.
I'm fine with doing an Xbox podcast. Whatever.
Yeah, I'd be down.
Do weekly updates on Xbox.
Yeah. Give what's that new? There's a new Xbox podcast that just came out from Sacred from Colin's Last Stand Media called Defining Duke.
Okay.
And then there's the Kind of Funny Xcast, I believe it's called.
Yes.
So like none of the we need a better name than these for sure.
Yes.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, Kind of Funny Xcast and then Defining Duke.
We could do better than that.
Yeah, no, that's
your next favorite game. I think is a great name for a Game Pass show. But if we were to do an Xbox specific show, we'll come up with something good.
I loved IGN's old old fucking name for their 360 podcast back in the day.
Uh-huh.
3 Red Lights.
Yeah.
That you could
The
not
sense
have
of humor. Yeah.
Yeah, and then later they turned it into Podcast Unlocked.
Oh my god. Okay, that's not.
That's better. That's still better than these two. I'd rather have Podcast Unlocked sounds better than Xcast or Defining Duke.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it's not great, but it has a little more pop to it.
Sure.
But yeah, like yeah. Speaking of achievements, but yeah, I'm gonna look. Let's see. Where's your? Yeah, 25082.
God damn.
It's not listing your gamer score for Sea of Thieves, which is weird.
That's weird. Yeah, I don't know. You're gonna have to talk to me. We could probably do it now, but yeah, Shawshank, I'm telling you, like, all I have to do is get a few achievements that are like end with 1, and we'll be all right. But
so, did I tell you about back in the day that shit happened to me? I forget what other game it was. I want to say it was I forget what game it was, but it threw off my gamer score, and I needed like 3 points. And I was looking through games that I had, and I noticed that there was one in Forza Motorsport 2 where it's like own a Korean car, 3 points. And I looked the car up, and it's like, and it cost like $1 million.
great.
And I'm like, fuck. But then I remember Anthony had $300 million in that game and he has every car, and I'm like, yo, bro, can you trade me this car?
Right.
He's like, yeah, sure. and he traded the car to me, and I got the gamer score fixed. And I was like, oh, okay, never again.
Yep.
And then this year, I'm like, I'll play Double Dragon Neon, not knowing the nightmare that I would unleash upon myself. And yeah, that's what happened. It's awful. So yeah, no.
The worst part about this is that this is the game that I could probably get 3 more achievements or whatever I need to do, and I would fix my gamer score. But depending on what the achievements are, I may go over because I keep playing this game.
Okay, if you really like the game to the point of where you're willing to buy it, okay, then just go buy it on Switch.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
That's my solution. Just keep it. All right, I'm gonna go.
That'd be a good Switch game.
Yeah, that's
it's out on Steam, Xbox, PlayStation, and Switch.
Yeah, it's on everything. It's $20 normally, which, I've had this weird thing. So back when like digital games started coming out, and like hitting systems. Okay, now I got your Sea of Thieves achievements to load.
Okay.
Yeah, you have more points than me in that game.
Damn.
Anyway.
Okay.
But no, so like back when achievements first came out, I fucking I remember like when achievements first came out, and I was super into them, and then eventually died off. But I remember always hating whenever something would fuck up my gamer score horribly.
Yep.
Like just forever pissed me off.
Yep.
And that would make it, and like that made it so certain games I would try to just buy on other platforms. So
right. Yeah.
I'm looking through your like current achievements right now. You actually have an even gamer score in Rock Band 3.
Huh.
So there's something else
has messed me up. Then I must have eventually gone back and done it.
Or you unlocked something else that offset it.
Shawshank says Borderlands had a 1 point followed by a 49. Not a fan.
Fuck these people. These people who do this. They're monsters.
The idea behind this, I guess, is to try to motivate you to keep going for all the achievements.
What was the point of carrying?
Yeah.
What was the point?
I don't know.
I don't understand why you do this. You are monsters.
I feel like we heard this on another podcast years and years ago. Like, I thought we all decided 5 and 0, 5 and 10s. All right, don't mess with this.
Like the Double Dragon Neon people, it's because they want you to finish the game.
Right.
Like 1 point and then like 199 for beating it. Oh yeah, what I was gonna say is I remember when like digital games first started coming out, and at first they were like $5 because they were all shit like Gauntlet and Geometry Wars, and
Hmm.
then like real like Cloning Clyde and shit came out, and Explosion Man, it was like $10, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
that's a hard pill to swallow, but I'll swallow it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I go and then like they started to hit the 15 mark with
Yep.
like Shadow Complex, and that was like the hardest pill for me to swallow. And then I got okay with it.
Sure.
I got okay with it. I'm like, all right, $15 for a good downloadable experience, I'll take it. And then this generation with Transistor, they were like 20,
Yep.
and I just haven't been able to hit that hurdle. Even it just like I just in my mind, I'm just like, no, $20, sir.
Yo,
This
what's
is
going on,
absurd.
Unspoken Beret? How you
What
do?
day? Been a while, bro.
Yeah.
We're
Oh,
doing good. Talking some Xbox and PC, Xbox on PC. I'm looking through your gamer score trying to find where these fucking 2 points came from.
I invite you to find out. I mean, I got 31. Like I said, I think I got 31 from Cyber Shadow. It was messed up. While you're doing that, Shawshank says it was a joke for beating a boss. The Borderlands thing was a joke for beating a boss, then beating its second form. Yeah, I need to figure out what's messing with mine. Yeah, I don't know, man. Now that I have an Xbox, I'm going to be seeing it every day in front of me. I'm going to start caring again.
Right, it's in the top right hand corner of the system.
Ugh.
You can't not see it.
It's
You can't.
man.
Yeah, like this. I'm super happy about this game having this weird point structure because I'm like, it's my way out. My way out, baby. Let's go.
That was one thing that like was a better or worse thing about
Dude,
PlayStation is that they hide those trophies away, so you don't.
Well, the trophies don't have like a well, they have a number, but it's like an overall out of 100.
Exactly. Yeah.
Not a like, yeah, like that's also Cyber Shadow is what fucked up your gamer score.
What do I have? One was 31, right?
You have 25,082. Cyber Shadow was 32.
Was it 32?
Yes, 32. You have 2 achievements.
Oh, motherfucker.
So
I gotta get 3 more.
This game is what broke you.
Fuck me.
This game.
I finally get a new console to pay attention, and before I even notice, I'm back in it.
Awesome.
Awesome. All right. But hey,
so good.
I get to play a little more, and hopefully that will even out.
Yeah, no, once I get those 2 points, baby, I'm out.
That's fine.
I have 61,333. Day, you'll have like 2x the gamer score than my account. Well, dude, I got a 360 at launch.
That was like when we were during that generation was when we started GameCraft 1. And that's when we started like renting. That's when we really started leaning into GameFly and reviewing games as much as we could because we had the time.
Not only that, but like I think about like all the games that like because I switched over to PlayStation midway through that generation. Right?
Yeah.
And like I think about like you gotta think like my gamer score is pretty good. It's 60K. But then I think about like, oh man, all those games that I played on PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
What if you moved them over to fucking Xbox? So that's all those Street Fighter 4 points. That's that Resident Evil 5 points.
Yep.
That's the Borderlands points. That's the fucking the list goes on, on and on and on and on. BioShock Infinite points.
Fighters.
The Fighters. The Batman games.
Yep.
It's Guacamelee. I actually did beat Grand Theft Auto on 360, but there's just a Bayonetta I did on 360 because the PS3 version was trash. But there's a lot of games that I look back on that I played on PS3 and 4 that if you were to move my every Call of Duty, campaign of every Call of Duty, yeah, like it's it's ooh man, yeah, it adds up.
Yep.
It adds up fast. To
Uh,
where
Beret in the chat says, speaking of PlayStation, I finally played through Spider-Man PS4, one of my favorite games of all time. Planning on 100%ing it. That's a good ass game.
that is a great game. I have the platinum trophy, and I'm working on the platinum trophy on the remaster, and I have the platinum trophy for Miles Morales as well.
Okay.
So those games are well worth 100%ing.
Ross, I have a question. I've loaded up my Xbox profile here. This is a very new setup for me. We got my name, and then there's the game that I guess that I'm playing currently. I guess is what's below
so
it.
what are you looking at and where?
I'm looking at my profile page
Your profile page on the console?
on the console.
Okay, hold on. Let me do mine.
Yeah. Because again, this is all new. I've not played a full on like $60 title with this controller yet, so I'm not gonna say too much about it other than I really love this textured bit on the handles on the backside.
It's so good.
It's
right?
so good.
But no, okay. So pulled up the guide, clicked on my name, clicked on my profile, right?
Yeah.
And,
Yeah,
okay,
that screen that you're on.
Yeah. What is your question?
Okay, so there's the followers and friends bit, right?
Yes.
And then there's a circle with a number below it?
Yep.
What is that?
That is how long you've been on Xbox Live.
Really?
Yep. So I've been on Xbox Live for 15 years on this account. I've been on Xbox Live half my life.
How you like that feeling? How's that? But my problem is it says 7 here, which is wrong.
Remember, you switched accounts at one point, remember? I believe you did.
I switched accounts?
I believe you did. Remember when all that name drama went down? I think I have your other account still. Because I remember like a bunch of like when you were going through all those renames and account password shenanigans.
Yes.
Yeah, because
I just gave up on like whatever my gamer score was for that, and I just.
Yeah, that was very much it. Because like I think you thought you weren't ever coming back.
Did you do you have the last account?
I'm not sure. I'm gonna dig around for it. I have a lot of names on here that are long gone and past.
Oh.
And then some people I don't know why I have on here because I think they're jerks. So take that how you will. I don't really delete anybody unless you're like awful.
Right.
But yeah, Spider-Man PS4 is the absolute shiz.
Yep.
Ivy, Derek, Quinn's old accounts.
I actually looked through because they're shutting down those Halo servers.
Mm-hmm.
So I went back to see if they still had my old screenshots from fucking 07, 08, and they're all there.
Pulled some of mine down, yep.
So like at on some weekend when I'm not doing anything, I'm probably gonna try and download all of those.
I don't think I do.
But I went through all my name changes and I got to see them all, and whew, I had some.
Made some good choices.
I made some really good choices.
Made your mama proud.
I'll rattle. Yeah.
So that is your yearly tenure, though. So it must. You had to have swapped accounts at some
point. I had to have, right? Like, because I've been doing this much longer than that. Shawshank, 109,091. That's your gamer score. Good job on getting those points, but 91, huh?
Oh, dude, no. There's like, I am so behind in the points game that it's not even worth trying.
Well, right, no.
Because like, there are some people who never left the land of Xbox.
Exactly.
Like, you remember Andy, right?
Hell yeah, I remember Andy.
I got him on here, right?
Okay.
Homeboy has 105,000 points. But that's nothing. Because, alright, so, you know Jon Snow, I occasionally talk to him on Twitter. He's that Xbox super fan.
Yeah.
nicest guy in the world, by the way. Go check out his stuff.
Cool.
John Snow 117, 205,000 gamer score.
I believe that.
Been on Xbox for 15 years, same amount of time. And then there's like my friend Kenneth, who Anthony knows, who is absurd. That's the only way to describe it. Absurd. It's just absurd. There's no other word to describe this level of gamer score other than what the hell.
Man.
But yeah, so I've been I don't know, yeah, we might want to shift this to being an Xbox podcast.
I mean, yeah, if we wanted to keep it going, like if we could figure out a way to do that weekly or whenever.
Alright, okay, we got a really good question. Alright, you guys talking about Xbox reminded me to finally change my fucking gamer tag.
Okay, so while we're on that real quick, I just wanted to. So I went through a bunch of different name changes because I was trying to find out the perfect name for me. I really care about like my username stuff, and I went through a bunch of different edgy shit because we were in high school, and that's what I was into. I was very obsessed with being insane. I remember the first one was like Anarchy Aaron, and then there were a few changes. The earliest one saved by Halo 3 was Crazy Schwartz, because I was also watching Spaceballs.
I remember that one. Yep. Okay.
And then
how many of these I remember because I was here for all of these. Also, same Radley, same
my dude.
Yeah.
The Dark Jedi was one I went with for a while.
I think that was the first one I remember because I remember Halo 3 had just came out and you and I became homies.
Yep.
Over Social Distortion and Hot Girls.
Yep. It was a good time.
That's how
weird year.
Friends. That's how you become friends. Social Distortion, Halo, and Hot Chicks.
I have been made fun of for wearing band t-shirts. Let me tell you, the quickest way to a friendship from a stranger to a friend is a band t-shirt.
Yes,
band
sir.
Or video games.
Let me tell you, those are two great things to bond over.
We were talking earlier about things that filter people out. Let me tell you, just stating what you're about right up front.
Also, I'm still an edgy piece of shit. Also, if Dr. Pepper made a superhero Dr. Pepper to fight Pepsi Man, what would his superhero powers and backstory be?
He only.
That's an excellent question. Okay, so I think he's a he has to be a medical doctor, as well as being like a doctor, like superhero name wise.
I mean, if we want to take the Dr. Pepper commercials as the Dr. Pepper lore, then Dr. Pepper is really into college football, first of all. And
so he was a college football all-star. And he was a college football all-star. There you go. That's our first about him, I guess.
They just say their catchline is "Trust me, I'm a doctor," but it's always left a mystery if they're an actual doctor.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
That's the real mystery.
All right. What's his secret identity? His day job.
See, that's a good question. It would have to be a doctor, right? Or
yeah. Like, okay, so he has to be.
But who? Yeah, I guess I like the idea of like Dr. Pepper has a secret identity, but then someone else is the main character in Dr. Pepper's comic book, and they like run into a different doctor every issue. Like one of these has got to be the doctor.
One of my also, we got a comment in the chat that was reminding me of something from Xbox as well.
Okay.
I found out that my math teacher is I've been using the same gamer tag for 3 to 4 years. So I'll go over my gamer tag stuff in a minute after Aaron goes through his. And I've never had so much respect for a teacher in a long time. My math teacher is a big fan of D&D, Legend of Zelda, and Resident Evil.
Nice.
We had a teacher in the middle school and the high school I went to who liked video games enough to let us run a Halo club.
Yeah.
And what would eventually become Gamers Club.
Yep.
And he was super awesome, and he liked all kinds of different games. But yeah, homeboy loved Halo. He was right with us on that Halo love.
I remember having my hat taken away because you weren't allowed to wear hats inside the school at Reno High.
Yep.
And it got taken away, and so we had to visit the principal's office, and we went in, and principal was a super chill dude with a Captain America shield behind his desk before the Marvel Cinematic Universe was even a thought.
Yeah, no.
Like,
yeah, so
that was
no,
really
Principal
cool.
Sullivan was so dope.
He was great.
It's so cool.
It was like, we're here to get a hat. He got his hat taken away. He's like, oh, okay.
No, and then and then one of my teachers in my middle school was a red versus blue fan.
Nice. Wow.
Which was super fun. He was a science teacher and he was so dope. I used to we'd talk each week after the new episode premiered. It was so cool.
That's fantastic.
It's really hard to connect with teachers sometimes.
Yeah.
Like unless they are like one of you, like unless you do it outside. Let's see. There was this teacher in my middle school who did D&D club. She was cool.
Nice.
I actually think D&D is really good for kids.
Yes. Oh man, yes.
D&D is excellent for children. Reading comprehension, math,
problem solving skills.
Problem solving, creativity.
I sure could have used that when I was younger.
Like I got introduced to tabletop games really young. They just didn't click with me, unfortunately, which is a real shame because man, I could have used some of those skills later in life.
Exactly.
But I was also one of those. I was like, I am one of those unfortunate cases of like, definitely did not live up to my like potential.
Yep.
When it came to like education, because like in 6th grade, I have a college reading level, and like they're like, you're gonna go do the great things, and I'm like, I want to write about video games for a living. That's which don't D&D team working or chaos of lack of planning. I never played D&D, but I respect the D&D is cool.
It's really cool.
You remember Halo Driving School?
I do not. I don't know. That sounds great though.
That sounds cool.
But
yeah, okay, your numerous names.
So it was there were Anarchy Aaron, there was Crazy Schwartz, there was the Dark Jedi. I went through just to mess around with. I did one that was a variation of Andy's username because we were doing duos a bit, and then I did one of yours because you did Sarge, and then Quinn did Simmons. So I did O'Malley, I think.
Yeah, no, I remember that because we had Donut as well.
That's right, we had Donut. Oh my god, Donut.
Nope. He is still Donut.
He's still Donut. Really? Okay, that's great.
Mike is cool. He's up in Michigan.
That's awesome. Then over on PlayStation, I went like Psycho Dude.
And then you made a new account, which fucked up your that means you had to constantly log new accounts to get access to all your PSP games.
That's right. That sucked so bad.
Yep, because on Sony, you couldn't name change. And now if you name change, you might lose old entitlements.
Isn't that great? Isn't that wonderful?
Yep.
Amazing.
The fucking one of the worst part, okay, so anyway, and then but you were continuing on with your Xbox name.
Yeah, no, and that was kind of a lot of those. I remember, yeah, and then Zero Dude after Psycho Dude and all that, I went Zero Dude, and Zero Dude felt like the right one for a while there.
That stuck for a while.
Yeah.
And then I remember you were Ashton Holiday. And
that was my actual name. That was a whole different thing. That was outside of video games.
Right, and then what did you do after Zero Dude? Because that stuck for a while.
I believe it went to Radley Duder after that.
I think that was it.
Because that was when soon after that I've been like paying attention to Giant Bomb for a while, and they've been pushing Duder. And then I just discovered Big Lebowski, so I heard it there too. And then found out Radley was a name, and I thought that was cool as hell. And so Radley Duder had this like flow to it. I was like, that's my gaming name, and that's stuck for quite a while now. So
for me and my gaming name, so it's Undying Sarge on the consoles. And how that happened is way back in 2004, I got an original Xbox and Xbox Live, and I wanted to use the name Sarge, which I obviously was taken because the service had existed for about a year at this point.
Right.
So, like, Sarge was taken. And what original Xbox Live would do would recommend names to you to use instead.
Mm-hmm.
And I was looking through the list, and like one came up, Undying Sarge, and I was like, yeah, I kind of like that. You know, like a 14-year-old me in his head was like, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I'll go with that. So Undying Sarge is what ended up being picked on the consoles. And when I bought a PS3 years and years down the road, that's what I chose.
Mm-hmm.
And you're probably wondering why Sarge, and it's because I loved the Sergeant in I love Sarge in Red vs. Blue.
Yep.
And I love Sarge in Halo. Like I love
Oh
Sergeant
yes,
Johnson.
what's his name?
Yeah. I know what the ladies like. You know, that guy.
That guy's great.
Turns out I do not actually know what the ladies like if my current track record is
I like to think I do.
I like to dream. So there's that. Sarge. Oh, dude, Sarge is like the best character on that show. One of the best. Him and Donut are probably my personal favorites.
When I became hooked on Red vs. Blue was the episode where Sarge and Caboose were stuck together.
Oh, that's a good episode.
It's a really good episode.
Kill the Reds, kill the Reds, kill the Reds, kill the Reds. It's just like, what are they saying? You do not want to know. Yeah, so that was a real cool so, and then on PC I'm Sarge 1445. And you're probably wondering like how the fuck did that distinction happen? Well, before I made my Xbox Live account, and all my other and my console accounts, I had I was on forums and once again wanted to be Sarge, but you know, obviously taken. So I was like, yeah, I don't know, I'll just put some numbers after it, as is the common thing you do on forums.
Yes.
And I was 14, and one of my parents was 45. So I was like, yeah, that'll work. And
Fair
so
enough.
that's kind of the route I ended up going with. And Sarge Ray, he flew pretty good for a brick. Yeah, so yeah, like it was what was it? It was so I really like Sarge in RVB, and I really liked him in Halo.
Yep.
And I chose it. I chose it once again for my Rooster Teeth forums, my GameSpot forums. Not really thinking that I'd be using this for using 1445 for a gamer tag ever, but then Valve puts out Steam.
That's right.
And you had no idea Steam, and you had at the time no one had any idea Steam was going to be a big deal.
Right.
Okay, this is 04. Most people found it fucking annoying that you had to download Steam to play Half-Life 2 because we just thought it was a DRM Ponzi scheme.
Right.
Okay, I want to put this perspective for you of 2004 PC gaming into your mind. Okay, this is still the era of like you would bring home. So if you're like me and you built a computer without a fucking DVD drive and you put a CD drive in this bitch, every PC game you were coming home with at minimum 2 discs and sometimes up to like 10 and putting them in one at a time to install it. And then to because they wanted to make sure you wouldn't copy it and give it to a million of your friends, you would have to type in a 15, anywhere from a 15 to like a 40 character fucking key code from the disc into it. And man, if you ever built a new PC or got a new hard drive and you forgot that code, you were fucked. You couldn't play your game anymore. Sorry. So you made sure that's what you want to know why I have all those big box PC games still? because of that shit.
Sure.
That's why. Because I still have and I actually still, for some of them, I even have the big boxes. Back when PC games used to come in those.
Right.
So, yeah, that was a, yeah, I don't know. So this is, so yeah, man, that's a, that's its own fucking. So yeah, that's how I ended up on. So, and because Steam became a fucking big deal, and then like later, World of Warcraft became a big deal and started using your Battle.net name for fucking everything.
Yeah.
On PC, I ended up as Sarge 1445. On console, I ended up being Undying Sarge. Yeah, didn't Monkey Island have a wheel for the code? So that was before my time. Even though I know by the gray hair you wouldn't believe it.
Uh-huh.
That was before my time, but yeah. So a lot of PC games came with like a code wheel where you had to like decipher it to install your game without DRM.
Right.
So yeah, like you had a code wheel.
Wow.
And then what else was there? There was a lot of shit like that. Like and back in 04, times were a little different because I know a lot of people bit 04 and prior because, admittedly, I had a cousin who involved me in all this shit who was like, so like I didn't have a fucking gaming computer until 2004, but I was on my cousin's basically from 99 onward. And like if you want to know something that was real fucking, like in 2004, most people found Steam fucking annoying because internet connection. You think internet connections are rough now? Back then, it was the Wild West. People still had dial up. So like the idea of fucking having to be connected to an online service 24, like the entire time you're playing this game, sounded to be like the most absurd shit in the world. And
Yeah,
the
it
fact that,
probably didn't make sense at the time.
and then also at the time, if you want some additional thing, is like eventually they moved Counter-Strike as that being the only way over to play it. So a bunch of people got really pissed off that the only way you could play competitive Counter-Strike and like ranked Counter-Strike and shit is if you had Steam installed. So
Cool.
yeah, that was a PC gaming went through this like weird, like mentally handicapped transition phase from like 2000 and like 2001 to like 2010.
I mean, that was the the transition for consoles, online, making that shit work.
And that was also like that, like that was also kind of like this weird period where like more PC games were coming to console.
Yep.
Like you go and you look at like Morrowind, and you go and you look at you go and you look at like Morrowind, and you go and you look at like stuff that was coming to the original Xbox that normally wouldn't have come to a console at all. Like Unreal Champion, like they made like Unreal Tournament didn't come, but they made a version of Unreal with some other features for the Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
Like Unreal Championship and like KOTOR, like Western RPGs, like made it to the Xbox. And then like during the 360 era, they started to make it to like all consoles. So now these games that were like only for PC people are now for everyone. And like, yeah, those games got dumbed down a little bit, but also found a way bigger audience. So publishers made more money, market got more diverse. PC gaming kind of had to go find its own weird place in the desert.
And they figured it out.
Right, and like Windows Vista was around at that time period, and like there was a bunch of other weird shit going on with like in respects to like like just everything was a fucking hassle. Like I know that like to this day there are a ton of people who think PC gaming is a ginormous pain in the ass because of what it was during that time period. Like that.
Sure.
That because like nowadays if you game on PC, like that it's mostly not a pain in the ass. Every now and then a single title will be a pain in the ass. but like for as a whole, not really too much of a problem. Are there things that could be less annoying? Hell yeah. Absolutely.
I mean, there can be some strange ass errors with PC that console doesn't have to worry about necessarily.
No, some of those come to consoles every now and then, though.
It's, well, especially as they're getting closer to PCs themselves.
Yeah, like but yeah, like it's this weird. Yeah, I don't know. The history of PC gaming is weird.
Oh yeah, sure.
It's probably like console gaming is very clean and like it has its moments of like, oh, Red Ring of Death, that happened.
Yes.
But and I think that part of the reason why like we see, and that's actually, I think, speaking of the Xbox, back to what this show is kind of about now, I guess,
Right.
is like because of how well like Morrowind and Fable and Sudeki and KOTOR did on the Xbox, and then like later Oblivion on the 360, that kind of ended up being what moved the Western RPG away from being only a thing for PC.
Yeah.
Very similar to like what Halo did for the shooter. Like, and also, let's see. Oh yeah, and some old PC games wouldn't install if you had a CD and DVD drive. Yeah, that was true. Because there'd be like conflicts. Like, it would think you're trying to pirate the game.
Cool.
Because you're like, oh, you're ripping it to another thing. Like that was a thing. I actually, a friend of mine and I, this was a fun story. So, a friend of mine's dad found a way to run Halo without the disc being in the machine.
Ooh.
So he could copy the game over to my friend Matt's machine. But what ended up happening is, but the game would still recognize the CD key, so we couldn't be in multiplayer matches together.
Man, okay.
But we could still play in different matches and play a campaign.
Right.
So that was, it was still a nice little way to cheese the system. I think another thing that changed World of Warcraft, or changed PC gaming forever, was fucking World of Warcraft, like MMOs going like mainstream. And I think that also like kind of changed like games media a little bit. Because like, back in the day, when I first started blogging about games in like in the fucking mid aughts, the early and mid aughts, is like every outlet was like, okay, review game, that's done, we're never talking about it again.
Right.
And like that's just not how things are done
anymore. Sure.
I mean, even for us, like we're very much in that, like, play a game, check out a new thing, check out a new thing, check out a thing. But like, how often do I come back here and be like, so I went to Dragon Ball Fighters, or I went back to whatever.
Yeah.
And like now there's like all these there's like specialty outlets for like everything.
Right.
And like there's specialty, and then there's like specialty YouTubers. And like there's no way you're gonna outdo those people for those fan bases. That's why like being a generalist is really hard now.
Unless you got the team and like the scheduling to pull that off, and
like money. Like
money, of course, yeah.
Yeah, like it's really, like, what we do for the Gamecast is fucking hard. Like that is a hard show to. It's a hard show to do because it's like, okay, like, yeah, news is kind of a general thing, but like when I sit down to when I sit down and like have to be like, all right, who is my audience? And it's like most people over 18.
You're right.
It's not like this show where we can go, okay, we are talking to people who own an Xbox or at minimum are in the Xbox ecosystem. And like some other people may come along for that ride.
We have plenty of fans who are like Sony people.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. And then like and that's great. And we have definitely like our hardcore Nintendo peeps.
Sure.
But it's like
and PC people.
Yes, and I feel like this show really is for a lot of PC people as well.
It really is.
Because like it's like yeah, what, like 1 in 10 games aren't on both services,
Right.
or like they're a 360 game.
I mean, part of the appeal of going to Xbox again is that they're being a little more lax with letting you play these games on PC as well. Their
Right,
first party stuff.
it's it's gotten to the point of where like I love their ecosystem so much that like I want a PC in the office and I want a Xbox for my like console setup and I want an Xbox in the living room like for like the living room setup and everyone to enjoy. And then for mobile, I want to install like their shit on my phone.
Sure.
It's like so you're always playing something from Game Pass, or if not something from Game Pass, something from their ecosystem.
Right.
Yeah. And that's and they've done a great job of that. Like it's like once again, I'm getting that new TV that we talked about earlier in the show, and like I have this perfectly good 1080p TV. And like, man, you want to know what's really good for a 1080p TV?
Hmm.
A Series S, and that thing also does Netflix and everything. And guess what? Probably is not going to be doing Netflix soon. That is currently in my living room.
Oh.
The PS3.
Oh.
So
Sad.
like my PS3 has been like my living room media champion for a long time, but they didn't put Apple TV on it. They didn't put Disney Plus on it. So it's just like it's kind of like, well, this thing's rounding out its last hurrahs.
Man.
It's a good Blu-ray player, but
Oh yeah.
It's kind of like its last leg. So like getting a Series S in there wouldn't hurt.
Not at all. But that is a bummer. Bronson.
Yeah, man.
I'm in an Avatar creator.
Okay. So
I'm deep in it now.
You are deep into the Xbox experience.
It was something that I always thought was a lot of fun. Was the Avatar stuff.
Can Phil Spencer quit dick teasing 1 versus 100, please?
Just do it or don't.
Can he quit, like, for real, at Phil Spencer? I don't know if you or Aaron Greenberg are watching this, because I did tag you on. I don't know, they might check it out.
Oh.
That's why I tweeted out. I'm like, hey, you never know. One of them might check it out. They might like it. But I don't know if either of them are watching this or if this gets around to them. Everyone at Xbox P3 and at Aaron Greenberg clip of this. Bro, just tell us that you're trying to make 1 versus 100 happen or let the dream die. Like, I love that. It was one of my like that and the Netflix party.
The Netflix party was so good.
Are two things from that 360 era that I want to come back so badly.
Man,
they won't. They won't.
It was a really good time, and it still has a hook with it in that you can have full screen if you want to, but you can also have your avatar sit in the front row seats and emote during the movie. And
like especially now in the current world we have just lived in.
Yeah.
Like
there is something there, and man, it was a good time.
It was, and I think 1 versus 100 was awesome.
Also, 1 versus 100 is great. But yeah,
I think that like Avatar. I barely I update my avatar every now and then, but for the most part,
I mean, yeah, it's not something that I would probably be full on with. It's just it's a new thing of avatars. These things look crazy now that I'm looking at them.
They're really different now. They changed them. They and then they it's yeah, like it, and like the Xbox Series X, as you mess around with it, like that quick resume stuff is cool and very like witchcrafty, even if you have to keep track of which last 6 games you played.
Mm-hmm.
And like One thing that I like that the system does that the PlayStation. So in the settings, you can set it so the console turns on, your TV turns on when your console does,
That's cool.
right?
All
And you
right.
can also set it to like where it turns off when your console turns off. On the PlayStation, you can set it to do that when it turns on, but not when it turns off, and I don't understand why. So like I'll turn my PlayStation on, my TV will boot up, it'll go with the right input, great. Xbox, same thing. PlayStation, I turn it off, and then just my TV sits there on, be like, no input. It's like,
Shawshank in the chat says there has to be story. There has to be a story of why they removed Netflix Party. Like, yeah, they never really explained, did they?
they never did. They never did. They
God.
that was just a thing they chose to do. Speaking of like weird Xbox things, and like another thing about this console. Did you end up getting the extra memory? I assume not.
No.
No. That is a worthwhile investment.
I was looking at it like later. I will probably
Yes,
do that pretty soon here.
I caved. I caved within 2 days of owning the system. I downloaded the Medium that I'm gonna check out this week. I got a bunch of games I'm gonna check out. I don't know which I'm gonna come back next week to review on here, but I have Haven downloaded, I have the Medium downloaded, and I have both Halo Wars and Dragon Quest out.
Okay.
So I have a bunch of shit ready to go for next week.
Good.
To come in and talk about as far as there has to be a story of what. Yeah, they're like it has to be like a rights thing, right? But you all had to have a Netflix account to use it. Like we browbeat friends of ours into getting Netflix to watch movies with us.
It was a damn good time, but like, yeah, I don't think it was because they're all their own avatars. They own the avatars. They just set up that room, and then yeah, it made sure that everyone had Netflix to use it. There's no reason why they couldn't keep doing that.
I'm bewildered by it, dude. I like that. It's like there's a lot of stuff from like the late 360 era into the early Xbox One era. I don't understand the choices.
Sure.
And it bewilders me every time.
Just.
Yeah, like it's one of those things where, I have surprised like. It's so good to be back on the Xbox platform and Xbox.
It really like I've only been on for like a little bit here, but I'm happy to have an Xbox thing in my hands again.
Like, and this controller feels great, and like and like even the Series S, from what I've got to play around with, is like, if you were fine playing games at 30 FPS and 1080p, like, bro, there you go, they got you.
Right. Barrett in the chat, I have a question. Is it better to save up for a budget PC or have consoles caught up in that department?
Okay, so this is a complicated question because of the state of the world. Because due to U.S. foreign policy of the previous administration, and because this is going to be a very long-winded question, by the way, I'm sorry.
Try to shorten it as much as you can, but don't.
Okay,
yeah.
yes. But due to that, and due to the fact that the coronavirus has caused PC parts to be jacked, as of right now, it's actually probably a better bet to get a console as of this particular moment. That's something that I really like. That's actually why I felt really comfortable buying the Series X when I did, because like originally the plan was to get a 3080, but finding one in stock is impossible. Scalpers have the prices jacked to hell, and like it's just so like it was actually significantly easier to just wait on Wario 64 for an Xbox. So yeah, and like the current batch of consoles, at least for the next year or two, are going to be very comparable to PC performance in a lot of ways. Maybe even more depending on, like I said, how coronavirus has affected development. And like Sony had to get rid of Rumble because of loss at Microsoft too, but they paid it, so they're able to keep it. Okay, yeah, sorry, he was saying that in regards to the Netflix stuff.
Right, which yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah,
But
maybe
no one else was
Microsoft.
doing it, right?
No, and like now people just do it through Discord.
Right.
So you would think. And Microsoft had a bunch of exclusive deals with Netflix. Like Microsoft had the exclusive streaming rights. It's why on Wii and PS3 for the first year you had to use a disc.
Oh my god. Oh right.
I still have mine. I kept them. I thought they were a weird little collector's thing.
Sure, that's fair enough.
But yeah, so like I think that right now that's a really hot because like if this was like before the coronavirus, I would have been like, bro, build PC. Like just like 110%. But the way things have gone, so due to US policies on trade with China, computer parts have gone up in price. The pandemic and the shortages have caused computer parts to grow up in price. Linus Tech Tips actually just did a video on this of trying to build a computer for the price of a Series X, all parts included in a controller, and just like that was a very bare bones computer.
Right.
And granted, if you're spending and like they did their holiday guide and they did one where it was like, okay, like I can't honestly recommend a GPU to you in the $2,000 or $1,500 price range because none are available.
Sure. And
So,
yeah, so it's like a question of like if you're willing to wait until things go back to normal and maybe some nation relations even themselves out, then maybe
and then like
maybe go PC.
And then like because like in our case we have
we got ahead of it.
We got ahead of it. Like we were very lucky in the stimulus hit and we had money already planned, and like outside of a video card my computer is not even a year old.
Right.
And then Aaron, same thing.
Yep.
And like, yeah, do we want to upgrade video cards? Yes, of course.
Absolutely.
But it's not easy to do right now, and it's not a feasible thing right now.
It's why I got a Series X right now, is because like one of the last things I need to get done is the graphics card, and it's just not looking good anytime soon, just in terms of availability. So
right,
yeah.
This way, at least once a week, I see an Xbox or a PlayStation come into stock, and yes, they sell out, but like at least you have a pretty good chance of getting one if you're on top of it. Versus like my experience with getting a video card, I haven't seen one come to stock for 2 weeks, and they were gone the second I clicked on the link.
Yep.
It's just where the state of things are, and the thing is things could always improve. I do want to know that, and if you really do prefer the PC experience, that's great. Like I do prefer it in a lot of ways. Though I did find if I do buy a PC, should I wait until the part prices drop? I am saying at minimum wait until this summer and see how things shake out.
If you're willing to wait, then like yeah.
Yeah, if you're willing to wait, yeah, because like it's crazy right now. You can't even get like a 5,000 series pro. Like I know people who are like I know a dude who just built a new rig, got a 3090 and everything, but had to settle for a 1090K processor because he couldn't find anything AMD or 11 series Intel.
Wow.
He just had to be like, all right, well, this is what I get. So like
okay.
And then like I like my grandfather's been asking me about a computer, like just a basic office one, and I'm like, oh yeah, I could probably build you something on the cheap, and like even him, I'm like, you know what, you're probably better off just talking to HP.
Right.
Like let's put it this way, prices have gotten to the point of where like I fucking hate pre-builts, but like my almost advice is like, okay, buy a pre-built and just swap in the shitty parts and cable management yourself.
Ooh.
that's kind of where I'm at, because like at least they have the parts. And yes, you're paying a markup, but the markup isn't as bad as the scalpers that you're going to be paying.
That's
And
true.
also like once again, okay, yeah, let's say cyber power has, let's say you pay, $1,800 for a build with a 3080 from cyber power, cyber power, and then you go ahead and spend another $150 on a power supply that is actually of good quality, and then another like $30 on cables that aren't ugly mustard cables.
Hmm.
So like, yeah, you're spending more money, but it's not as much as you would spend, and you're at least getting what you want. Like that's maybe a good middle ground.
Beret says
uh,
waiting shouldn't be too much of a problem because I can't legally work.
oh, what do you do right now, or what do you do, or what is preventing you from legally working?
Coronavirus.
Well, yes, but like, what does he do? Is there something else? Like, what's like because like I know, like for example, I have a friend who works in the theater industry, and she's collecting unemployment, but it runs out probably soon-ish. Knowing how things are going, and she's looking into other job options. So
Student.
student, yeah, okay. So
There you go.
yeah. So waiting is not a problem for you. Maybe finding out
Under the age of working. Oh, that's right. So okay, yeah,
Oh,
that's
okay.
then
Okay.
if you're fine with waiting, then you can go ahead and wait.
Yeah, like that's yeah, and then like the
If
thing
you're
is,
yeah,
we don't. My biggest problem with the wait is we don't know how fucking long the wait is going to be.
that's the thing.
Is my big issue, because okay, so at minimum they're expecting most people to be vaccinated. Like, let's say they start, really getting on vaccinating over the next like 2 weeks, or over the next week or so. It
Uh-huh.
takes 6 weeks to be fully immune.
Mm-hmm.
Most frontline workers are going to be getting it in the next 6 weeks, and then normies like us will be getting it in the spring. So at best, you're looking for most people to be vaccinated by like the end of June. And then you have, how long is it going to take for production and everything to ramp back up to sort of normal levels, right? So
I also want to point out this is an ideal scenario as well.
this is also ideal world, ideal world scenarios. So I mean, and the thing is, yeah, it could be June. It could be everyone's back to work in June, July, and in fucking August, it's raining video cards and candy, and Santa's giving blowjobs in the parking lot, and frontline worker. Our group got our second shot over the weekend today.
Nice.
Nice.
Fantastic.
Good news. So it could be like, I'm not hearing anything because I work at home and our company knows that. So unless you live in the Pennsylvania area where our offices are, then you're not going to hear shit about it anyway.
Right.
So yeah, like that's so the like be and like be honest with yourself what you prefer and want. Like that's something to always consider as well. Like
There's a thing where it's like, consider what games you want to play. Are those out right now? Do you really need to play them on a console? Would you rather go PC? Do you have the money to make that happen on PC, or
do you need the PC for school or whatever? Or do you or do you have a good, like a decent-ish enough computer to get your schoolwork done? Because because I remember a big part of my first gaming PC is I needed a computer for school anyway.
right?
That my parents were going to spend money on. I'm like, well, if you want to, like this would be a little extra, and I could do other stuff on it. And then so yeah, like that was a, so yeah, like that's a, that it's also kind of evaluating what you're into and your wants and needs are, of course.
Of course.
Like because yeah, because like you just get a console because you want to play games soon, but like you don't really care about the games on PS5 or Xbox Series X, which, okay, that's, whatever. That's your, that's your taste. It is what it is.
Ray says,
And
I was
then,
planning to learn to edit for the hell of it.
okay, and then like, so, but that doesn't necessarily mean you can't do that on a like regular laptop or computer, or like, split your fun, like, split your funds in a way to where you could do like a computer that has a good processor, but not necessarily a great video card. So yeah, I don't know. It just kind of, yeah, it kind of depends, because like it sounds like PC is a better fit for you, but
Yes.
it depends on when and how in this ideal world, when everything goes down, because once again, it's like once again we don't know how long we're gonna
Doing
be
this.
waiting for a lot of this shit, right? Like,
Yep.
so yeah.
Well, yeah, we'll see. If you're willing to wait, and then yeah, I think PC's good. It's just you might be waiting a while. So
Right, versus like, yeah, and then like the PC, and yeah, I remember a PC could do way more, but like, how much, yeah, and then like what is your budget as well? Because if
yeah,
your
but
budget
budget's
is,
huge too.
yeah, like, because like if because like a $500 PC, like, bro, just don't even bother get an Xbox. Like, don't even bother. Like $1,000, okay, $1,500. That's a screaming computer, and that's something that like, okay, then we're cooking. We're cooking there. So
Sure.
it's like, well, So yeah. Anyway. I think that's the show for
I
tonight.
think keeping around 2 hours tops for this show, I think is a good idea.
Yeah, absolutely. I was planning on going with 650. Okay, so
There are some videos that demonstrate how you can stretch up
you
to
can,
$800.
you definitely can, but not in the current state of the world is the
That's
problem.
again this goes back to waiting.
Yeah, so like if you're willing to wait anywhere from 6 to 9 months, possibly more, like that's kind of the key here. If you're kind of in a 6 months or less mood, you might just want to get yourself an Xbox or a PlayStation or or even a Switch, and go from there. So
They already have a monitor.
yeah,
Okay.
so that's
Oh,
good. I mean, that's a start. That's a piece a lot of people don't consider the cost of, and if you want a good one, they're starting like a good monitor, in my opinion, starts at like $200. So
sure. But
um,
if you have a decent one, it's all right.
yeah.
All
All right,
right.
so we should let me take a look and see who's online. I believe my friend Kayla is online. Yes, she is. So my friend Kayla is playing For the King.
Oh, For the
Uh
King,
she
yes.
she is also a giant Pokemon fan. I mean, for the love of her tag on here is Pokemon Trainer Kayla. So
Perfect.
you should all follow her and say hello, and she's a super cool person, and hopefully we catch her doing something neat. And so we're gonna start that right now. All of you degenerates better come over
Thank
and
you
be
to
wonderful
everyone
people.
for joining our show. We'll be back next week. Our next show is on Sunday, Super Gamecraft 2, 10:30 a.m. Pacific time. So catch it.
Absolutely. And you should all come over, follow Kayla, raid Kayla,
Let's do
and make sure
this.
you raid in the chat.
Yep.
And okay, there are 80 all in here, and only 5 are clicking yes. What's up? Okay. Fine. Fine, I see how it is. Alright, let's go over.
Let's go over.
Boop boop.
I never get taken over on these.